The 2026 FIFA World Cup is right around the corner. Billions of people, dozens of countries, and a frankly unhealthy amount of face paint. It is the absolute pinnacle of human athletic achievement. Well, usually. Before we get to the modern mega tournament, we need to talk about how incredibly weird, petty, and ridiculous this tournament's history actually is. Because when you put the pride of entire nations on the line, people tend to completely lose their minds. So grab your cleats and let's look at some of the craziest World Cup facts you probably didn't know. Let's jump to the 2006 World Cup in Germany, the round of 16 match between Portugal and the Netherlands. This wasn't a football game. It was a literal martial arts tournament played on grass. It is now famously known as the Battle of Nuremberg. Right from the kickoff, both teams decided that instead of kicking the ball, it would be way more fun to just kick each other. The referee was a guy named Valentin Ivanov, and he absolutely panicked. To try and regain control, he started handing out cards. A lot of them. By the end of the match, he had handed out a World Cup record 16 yellow cards and 4 red cards. It got so ridiculous that by the end of the game, players who had been ejected from completely opposing teams were just sitting next to each other on the sidelines, calmly watching the rest of the chaos unfold together like they were at a movie theater. Let's actually stick with the 2006 World Cup for a second, because it was apparently a magnet for absolute chaos. In a match between Croatia and Australia, an English referee named Graham Poll made the dumbest mathematical error in sports history. The rule in football is incredibly simple. You get 2 yellow cards, you get a red card, and you are kicked out of the game. Basic counting. 1, 2, out. But when Croatian player Josip Jominis committed a foul, Poll gave him a yellow card. Standard stuff. Then later in the game, Jominic committed another foul and got his second yellow card. But Poll just forgot to send him off. Jominic realized the ref messed up, didn't say a word, and just kept playing. It wasn't until the very end of the game that Jominic committed a third foul, and Poll finally gave him his historic third yellow card of the match, followed by the red. Apparently, basic addition is really hard under pressure. But at least they had a trophy to play for. In 1966, England hosted the tournament, but 4 months before kickoff, the actual, literal World Cup trophy was stolen right out of a public exhibition. Scotland Yard was baffled, the government panicked, the entire country was humiliated. Who solved the crime of the century? A good boy named Pickles. Pickles was a dog. He was out for a walk with his owner when he sniffed out the trophy, which the thief had randomly wrapped in newspaper and shoved under a bush. Overnight, Pickles became a national hero. He was given a cash reward, an actual medal, and was even invited to the official winner's banquet. Now, let's go back to 1950. India qualified for the World Cup in Brazil, but they ended up withdrawing before playing a single game. For decades, a legendary rumor spread around the globe that India dropped out because FIFA officials told them they weren't allowed to play barefoot. In reality, India withdrew mostly because traveling all the way to Brazil by ship was way too expensive, and back then they cared infinitely more about the Olympics than the World Cup. But still, the image of a team stubbornly refusing to wear shoes became one of the most famous legends in sports history. Let's go back to the present and the upcoming World Cup in 2026, hosted by the USA, Canada, and Mexico. Normally, the World Cup has 32 teams, but for 2026, FIFA decided they wanted more money, more soccer, so they expanded it to a whopping 48 teams. There will be 104 matches across a massive continent. The travel logistics are going to be an absolute nightmare. Imagine playing a grueling 90-minute match in Vancouver, Canada, and then having to fly all the way to Mexico City and then up to New York. The jet lag alone is going to defeat half the teams before they even step onto the pitch.